Good morning, lovely people. How are you? I'll wait for you to all jump on. I'm noticing the strange sun I think it's moving. I think we'll be fine with the strange sun today, but maybe it's dust all over my screen. I'll just give my screen a little wipe. There we go. It's all dust all over my screen as well. It is lovely to see you today. The sun is shining. The sky is blue. It's mostly blue. It is pretty blue, actually, and it's crisp, which is always nice. It was much crisper in the South Island when I was there the other day. A lot crisper, actually. So those of you who are down there, wrap up warm. It's so nice to have woolens to put on, though, isn't it? I just love that about knitting. But it's definitely crisp-ish here today compared to that. Hey, Joanne. Yes, the sun is gorgeous. Love it. I love these winter days where it's sunny and cold and, oh, they feel so good. Hey, Morgan. Nice to see you. Hey, Terry, lovely to see you too. And the fire is on. Yeah, our fire's not on yet, but it has been going on in the afternoons just to keep the house all nice and cozy. Hey, Helen, it's raining in Melbourne. Oh, Helen, you can enjoy some of our beautiful sunshine vicariously. Just imagine you have sunshine outside the window. Although we had some really rainy days. Was it over last? I'm losing track. I'm completely losing track of the days. I think it was over last weekend. And it was so nice to sit up, curl up and knit. I just so enjoyed that. Wet and dreary there. I'm not sure where you are. You have to tell me. Hey, Sabrina, Morena, Libby, sunny and really cold in West Melton. Another gorgeous day. Hey, everybody. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Robin and Bianca. Lovely. I missed last week. We had a family funeral. My dad's big sister died. And she had a really long and rich life. And it was really nice to get together with all my cousins. I enjoyed that. So that's where I was last week with all my cousins and my dad and everybody having a long day of talking. And I didn't drink anything actually, but coffees and water for me. Hi, Claire, Sunny Kim Bolton. Hey, Kim, nice to see you. And Michelle. Oh, someone's saying it's pretty fresh, but should be a gorgeous day. -2 down there. Who's that? Somewhere in the South Island. That is so cold. Morning, says Lois Marie from the deep eastern Southland. I think I will enjoy your sunshine as we have a dull day. Barbara says it's cold and frosty in Canterbury. Oh, good, you're enjoying your Amelia knitting. Amelia is a new cardigan that we've just had in Wardrobe Toolbox, and she's my idea for Amelia. Everyone else will get to see her too, but I wanted something that just could go over things. And she's a fingering. Everybody wants fingering, apparently. So she's a fingering raglan cardigan, and she has a little bit of fullness, so you can wear her over things. I really like that. Oh, my serpentine looks lovely and cozy. Yes. Now I really have been desiring to wear this jumper for a few days, and I haven't been able to locate her quickly in all my boxes. But today I was like, it's definitely a serpentine day. It's the one that has these gorgeous stripes down the shoulders, kind of a bit of a batwing arm. And I made her out of Brooklyn tweed shelter. And so she's light. She's light and really warm. Love this jumper. I love this jumper. It's beautiful in Taranaki. It's a double time day in Sydney, Beck. Fantastic. And it's wet and cold in Hastings. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I wanted to show you, I wanted to remind you, I think a lot of you who are listening live are on my mini mag list. You get my mini mags every Friday in your inbox, just with a little bit of chatter. I tell you about new patterns and I tell you about discounts and I just talk to you about things that are just happening in my Knitterly world in front of me that you might enjoy. And I give you a link to this podcast and all of those things so you can watch it later. And for the last, I think maybe 4 weeks, has it been about 3 or 4 weeks, we've had winter warmer discounts. So for those of you who have been in the mini mag list, you will have been able to enjoy, if you haven't already had those patterns, winter warmer discounts. And so I've just given you a discount on a bunch of patterns going through just to get us going for winter. For those of you who are in winter and those of you who are going to be in winter, it's just a nice opportunity to grab a pattern and cast it on so that you can either wear it now or save it for later. So I think we've had 4 patterns over the last few weeks, and this week is the last week for the Winter Warmer discount. So if you're not on the mini mag list already, jump on. I was going to show you what this week's one was, because I've got a fun new sample for this one. So I thought I would show you. And what I've got is this one. It's Georgie. I actually wore Georgie yesterday. That's why I'm not wearing her again today. So the Georgie pattern, this is the one I had in Liner magazine. I can't remember what number 4, something like that. Liner magazine years ago. And it's a lovely, lovely jumper. I originally knitted her with Outlaw Bohemia Sport. I think they now call it Bohemia Light. And I'm pretty sure I used the Fog colorway. I did. Fog. I've printed off the pattern so I can see what's what. Here's another picture of her. She's in my room. She actually needs a bit of a wash, this one, Georgie. I wear this one a lot. But it's really soft. It's got that lovely patterning on the body. You can see when I go up close. It's got that lovely patterning. It's really fun to knit. It's not speedy. It's not a speedy knit. It is a relatively mindful knit as you're working this patterning down the body. But then it has nice, slim stockinette sleeves. It's a drop shoulder. She's just really easy to throw on. I have so enjoyed this jumper, and I've enjoyed just throwing her on. And I thought, I wouldn't mind another Georgie jumper, actually. So I got very lovely Claire to knit me another one. Only I was a little ambitious about what size I should make. Just had a slight bit of, strangeness going on in my head. Georgie's on my list. Fantastic. So I thought, I'll get it knitted. I'll have another sample knitted in my own yarn. And I did, because the stitch gauge for this pattern is exactly the same as the stitch gauge for Georgie. There are differences in the wool. There are slight differences, and I'll talk about those and what you might think about that. But the stitch gauge is, 24 stitches over 4 inches or 10 centimeters. I get that on a 3.5. Claire gets it on a 3.25. You might get it on a 3.75, 3.5. Experiment. But I like 24 stitches, and then it's 34 rows deep for the pattern itself, for the Georgie pattern. And I get 30 rows for the pattern itself. So just have a play around. You might have to fiddle around with the row gauge, but in this pattern, because it is, I think I printed off the sizing page. I did. But because it is a drop shoulder, can you see that okay because of the light? I'm not sure if you can. Because it's a drop shoulder over here, it is super easy to modify. So you just knit to the right length. You don't have to be overly fussed about the row gauge for this one. Knit to the right length and then pop in the sleeve you want. You might have to slightly, if you're going to substitute the yarn for the Truly Myrtle yarn, you might have to work out some of the rows when you're knitting down the sleeve, because if you get more stitches crunched into your 10 centimeters or 4 inches, it means that your sleeves are going to be a little bit shorter than they need to be, because the sleeves for the pattern have rows that are just a little bit longer. So you don't have to do as many in order to get more length. Does that make sense? So you might just have to add a few more rows on. That's not really a biggie, because you could either put them on at the top, so you have a little bit more straightness before you launch into your sleeve decreases, or maybe you'll just add them on at the bottom. Once you've got to your cuff, you'll just add on a bit more, and then, before you do your ribbing at the bottom. It's not really a biggie for you to have to change. Body, just knit to the length you want. You will have a slight difference in the neck depth again, but it's not going to be much, because you're talking about such a small distance. You haven't got that many rows to account for. So I wouldn't be too fussed at the neck. You could work out with your gauge that you're getting how many rows deep is the neck going to be, and how many is the pattern call for, and how many do you want. And then you could just knit, you go straight a little bit up here, and you could just take away or probably add a couple more rows before you start the neck shaping, but you might want to pull it up anyway. So it's a really nice one to substitute a yarn for, because it's really, it's particularly if the stitch gauge is fine, the width is going to be fine. It's the row gauge that you're going to find you're going to have to fiddle with, and it really isn't such a big deal. So Claire made me this absolutely gorgeous Georgie. Look at this one. And Joy, that is that lovely, rich, it's kind of looks the right color on the screen. I don't know how you're seeing it at your end, but it's a rich gold mustard, a real mustard. Oh, it's absolutely fantastic. I love this one. And it's just, oh, it's so, so super cozy. Now, I originally made a size 3 in the pattern for Georgie. This one here, this gray one, is a size 3 and it has a little bit of a slop to it. And the yarn itself for the original is very soft and it really sort of droops nicely. This yarn has a lot more bounce to it. It definitely falls well. It does drape well, but it has a little bit more bounce. And I don't know, I just thought, hey, make me a size 2. I think that I could do with something that's just a little closer fitting. Well, I think maybe I am not a size 2. And so I got this pattern. I got this beautiful jumper back from her, which I adore. And I put it on and the body is okay. No, the body's actually okay on me. The body is a reasonable fit. The sleeves, my arms are not a size 2, guys. They're just not a size 2. And so these lovely slender sleeves, they fit my 13-year-old daughter perfectly. So she has stolen this jersey for herself. And I've said, all right, you can have it as long as you don't leave it on the floor. You can have it. I've let her have a jersey, which she is over the moon about because my kids don't really get enough woolens anymore because I keep knitting them. I keep knitting them for me and not for them. I should probably do something about that. Anyway, she has inherited this jumper. I've taken a few photos of her in it and I'll pop them in my mini mag tonight so that you'll see them in the morning when you open your emails tomorrow. But this Georgie is going to be, this is the pattern that you'll get with a discount for tomorrow. And if you do want to grab some of the Truly Myrtle yarn, it works beautifully. It works really beautifully for that. I love it. I just absolutely love it. I think it picks up the holes, the little eyelet patterning. Can you see that? It picks it up really well. It just, it's a lovely little warm jumper. She looks great in it. So let me read some of your comments before I go on to the next bit. Excuse me. Someone said, I've finally finished Greg's. Oh, Rebecca, I saw that you'd made your husband a floozy too. It's so cool. I must, if you give me a thumbs up, I'd love to share that with everybody. It is so great. Rebecca had a floozy 2 pattern at home. That's the one with the color work around the neck, slip stitch color work. And her husband said, I'm sure a guy could wear that, couldn't he? And she said, yes. And so she's made one for her husband. It's all natural tones of color. It looks so good. It's creams and browns and things. So I'd love her to show it off, Rebecca. It looks so good. She says she's cast on urchin now. She frogged it a while ago, but I'm going to have to put it down when my yarn for Amelia arrives. Oh, yes, because you've got the new cardigan as well. Someone said, I pulled out my Viva yesterday. It's so snuggly and warm when it's freezing down here. That's Amanda. I went to grab my my Viva yesterday just to throw over my head when I was heading out. And before I saw it, I saw Belle. Remember Belle? And she's that one with the stripes. And I redid her in some beautiful yarn with just a fleck of linen in it. And then I redid the border in a mohair. Do you remember that one? It's stripes. Belle. She's worth looking up. And I grabbed Belle, and she's this moderately sized triangle with this lovely little, almost filigree, it looks like filigree border in the mohair. And she's sort of a camely colored, cream colored stripe through the body. And I thought, oh, I just fancy wearing that. And so I threw that around my neck and tied it up. And I wore it the entire day yesterday around my neck. Actually, I think I wore it the day before as well because I wore the same outfit 2 days ago right in a row. But oh my gosh, she's so lovely and light and warm. But I was going for Viva, and I went for Belle instead, just for something a little bit different. It was just, I just wanted something. It's just, yeah, she just was so pretty and feminine. I just felt like that. Georgie is on my list. I have a sweet lot of Joy waiting patiently. Oh yes, I saw that one. Joy. Yes. So this is Joy. This is Joy. Joy Sport. This is the sport weight. The sport weight. Fabulous. It's a fabulous weight to wear. Sport weight. Oh man. Says Adele, I'm desperate to get some jumpers on my needles, but I foolishly agreed to do a sock commission for my neighbor. I need to get done first. It's chilly in Nelson now. I had to defrost the car this morning. Did you, Adele? Oh, yes. Get those socks done and then get a jumper on your needle. Love that, Georgie, and that color. Yeah, isn't it fantastic? Hi, Joe from the UK. It's sport, Kim. It's a sport weight. So it's not too heavy. It's lovely, but it gives you a nice amount of warmth with all the wool. Well, it is just wool. Oh, neat. It's fine to share the floozy too. Oh, I will, Rebecca. It is so good. I might do a little lineup of floozy twos and I'll put yours in it. Oh, Joe is making a pink summer souffle. Oh, that sounds interesting, Joe. I'm looking forward to wearing that. And Joe says, I'm wearing Belle today, made as a crescent. Oh, Joanne is so good at taking patterns and just reworking them and creating something else that's just uniquely hers. And so she's made Belle into a crescent shape, which is it's an awesome shape to wear a crescent. It's so easy. Louise, it was sport. Okay, so I will show you. So this is the original one that I used. This is the Southlander Sport. See, it says Sport, Enjoy on the back. That's what we used for Georgie, for the new one, that my daughter, who has my colouring. She's a little bit darker than I am, actually. And she looks like me she has my colouring from when I was a kid, actually. She's a lot darker. And so she looks amazing in this gold colour. I still want one for myself, though. So that's going to be another exercise. I might have to do this one myself. I thought if you wanted one that was more like the colours of the original, this kind of bluesy grey colour, it's the fog colourway, I thought actually Liberty would be a really good choice. It definitely has a blue hue to it, but it's quite a grey blue. It has the brown undertones to it because it's has that lovely oatmeal base. So I thought actually Liberty, it's on the Sport again, the Liberty would be a really nice substitute. If you wanted something that looked similar to the Georgie, I thought the Liberty would work really well. So those are two options for you, Liberty and Joy. And then the third one I got out because I thought actually if you really did want to go grey, if you were going to knit this for a man as well, or if you wanted something that's a little more scholarly, shall we say, then Scholar in the darker grey. Now, this is a really brown grey. It's actually my favourite grey. It has quite a browny hue to it, but it has a definite grey about it. So that one, I think, would also be a great choice for this one here. I think it's just light enough to still pick up the patterning really well through the body. I think the lightness really accentuates the patterning, and I think you would still see enough of it with this one here. I mean, I think you really could do a lot. I've got the colours there behind me. Oops, other side. I've got the colours over here. So there are quite a few you could choose from. The Grace would be lovely as well. That soft pink Grace at the top would be really nice. And I mean, any of them would be lovely, but I think some of these lighter colours will play with this pattern, just really play with the pattern beautifully. So to my mind, I quite like her on a lighter colour. She looks awesome with denim. Tess actually wore her with a little flowery skirt. You'll see in the pictures. Right. I'm making a sweater with a cabled yoke for my husband in Scholar. Yeah, my mum's making my son a jumper out of Scholar too. It really is a lovely, quite a masculine grey. I like it. It's one of those sort of homespunny kind of colours. I actually want like a V-neck jumper in this. I think it would look gorgeous. One day I will do that. What about a jersey in a denim? What about the jersey in a denim blue? I think it depends. I think I would do a little swatch and just see what you think. Because you might find if there's a clarity to it, it will pick up the colours beautifully. It definitely, you can see how the darks of the holes, when you're wearing it, the holes look quite dark. So it already has a little bit of shadowing going on in it. But yeah, that would be nice. What's the other golden colour that I have? Well, that one up there is Joy. That's this one. And then the one below it, that little greeny one, is more of that, it's like a real khaki green. And that one is like an old gold. And that one is called Curiouser. That's a lovely, I love Curiouser. I've done a jumper in Curiouser. It's that little Hebe jumper of mine with the colour work at the neck. I really do like that one. Would you suggest going up a size for the arms? No, the arms will fit you if you choose the right size. But I am definitely not a 2. I'm definitely a 3 or more in the arms. My arms are just older arms, and I've always had slightly, I've got good strong arms, and so I've got always had slightly more rounded arms in comparison to me. So I do tend to make my patterns reasonably generous in the arms, not overly, but they're not, I don't have long, slender arms. Let's just put it that way. So I need my garments to fit. But this was the size. She ended up knitting a size 2. And really, I should have just said, just do a size 3. I don't know what I was thinking. I actually don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking, make it smaller. But I could have done a size 3. I mean, I could have done a size 2 body and put a size 3 arm in it. That would have worked. So the thing is that if you find the size of body that you want for these, let me get my little sketch again and I'll show you. If you find this body size that you want that has the drop shoulder so that the drop shoulder hits you in the right place, you find that size in the pattern, then you can slot in any arm that you want. So you can go through here and look on here at the arm side depth, which is it's half your upper arm circumference. So if you find your upper arm circumference, add a little bit of ease to it so it's not skin tight. You might want to add like 5 centimeters or 7.5 centimeters. It's about 2 inches, 2.5. I think this has got 3 inches of ease. I actually had in my original at the arms, which is about 7.5 centimeters. Add that to your arm circumference. Remember, measure your arm by your side. And then find a size in here that is that. Find the arm circumference that is that. And when you're being asked to knit down here at the body for the yoke, knit to the depth of the arm you want. And so you can knit it longer or shorter depending on what arm size you want. Just keep knitting. And then when you get to the arm size, to the size in this pattern that is for your arm size that you want, stop and then join in the round. And then keep going down the body. And then when you come back to do the sleeve, you knit the sleeve that you want by first of all picking up around here. You pick up all the stitches that you need for your sleeve size, for the arm that will fit you. And you literally slot that in. So you could have a size 4 body and a size 5 sleeve, or a size 5 body and a size 3 sleeve, depending on the combination that you are. You can have quite baggy in the body and quite slender in the sleeves, or vice versa. So you don't have to be tied to the pattern in that way. It's really easy substitution to make. But just find the sleeve you like and find the body you like. Now, when we're looking at the body, you could go by bust size, but I think that most people, particularly if you are fuller in the bust or broader in the shoulders, then you'll want to go for a size. I would choose the size, put your arms out to your side a little bit like spread eagle, and get someone to help you. You can do it yourself, but it's a little more tricky. But you want to measure from where you think you want your sleeve to hit you. Probably, I like it about here, across the back, like that, across the back and down the other side. And choose a shoulder width that is that. Now, the reason I get you to put your arms out is because it just slightly shortens that length, and the knitting will stretch. And so it just allows for that little bit of stretch when you're wearing it. So measure it like that and then let it stretch, and it will hit you in the right place. And then from there, you can put your sleeve into your pattern. I always change the sleeve size on your patterns to 2 size smaller. Yeah, so I think because there's lots of things come into play. I like to have a sleeve that fits me, so I do think about that. But also, if you are fuller in the bust or carry more weight in the shoulder, this is where you're fuller, you're bigger here, you're up here, then you might find your arms are not. And so where we've got patterns that have sizing through the shoulders and the bust to fit a larger bust, you might not actually. You might have these lovely full breasts and quite slender arms. And in that case, you'll want to juggle what's happening, because you won't fit the standard measurements, which are assuming that you're just getting bigger all over. And you might not be. You might be just getting, fuller in the boobs and not in the arms. That would be amazing. So I think, you just have, it's just a matter of adapting, isn't it? And figuring it out. And Beck, you've got that down pat. What's the pattern called? It's called Georgie. Georgie here. Now, don't get it today. Don't get it now. You can get it now if you want to, Georgie. But if you want to get it with a discount, I'm going to have that one as my last of my winter warmer series tomorrow in my mini mag. So if you're not on my mini mag list already, you want to be on it. It's trulymyrtle.com/mini mag. Sign up today so that tomorrow, and if you get this a couple of days later, I'll send out some more emails over the weekend just to remind you. But I will give you a code that you can use for Georgie, and that will start over the weekend or tomorrow from when you get the email, and then you'll be able to grab this one yourself. And if you want to grab yarn, there's plenty of yarn at the moment, I think, in most things. I need to go and check the website, but have a little look as well. And if you want to grab the yarn to go with it, do that. I'm just going to see what the yardage is for, and I'm just going to see if the yardage changed much. Oh no, that's about right. So the yardage, you want the yardage that I've got in the pattern for the original Bohemia Sport, which is now Bohemia Light. I mean, it is a beautiful yarn. You can use that. It's really beautiful. Polwarth Alpaca Possum. It's really nice. Then the yardage I've got in there for that size works out pretty much the same. These are 100-gram balls. The Outlaw yarn is 50 gram balls, right? So these are 100. So yeah, find that. I've got the Liner magazine. I gather it will have, so the Liner magazine only wanted a smaller range of sizes. So when I put the pattern out in paper, my own version of it, I expanded the size range at the top and the bottom. So there are 13 sizes in Georgie for the pattern. It goes up to a 68.5 inches at the bust and starts at 42.5. I mean, that's giving you quite a bit of ease, nice amount of ease there. So there are more sizes in the actual pattern. Is my new Georgie sport weight. Yep. So I'll just say it one more time. So the original Georgie uses Bohemia Sport or Bohemia Light. So it was already a sport weight. So the gauge that I got the gauge for my stitches was 24 stitches in 10 centimeters or 4 inches, 24. And this is exactly the same, 24 stitches for the Truly Myrtle Sport. They're both sport weights. And so this works absolutely beautifully. You can substitute it in. It's slightly different in the row gauge. I get 30, and in the pattern you need 34. So you'll need to make, depending on what you get for your gauge, for your row gauge, you might want to add a little bit of length to your sleeves, possibly your neck, if you want to. You won't even have to worry about it for the rest of the body because you'll just knit to length anyway. But for where you're knitting to rows, the sleeves will be just slightly short with this row gauge. So you just need to add a few more rows. It won't be many. It really won't be that many rows. And the same with the neck. You might not want to change the neck at all. It might work out perfectly. Even with the shorter row gauge, you might be quite happy with the neckline. But you might just want to double check before you get cracking. Now, in the Truly Myrtle Hangout that we have, that is the perfect place to ask questions like that. So if you have a question about, oh, help, this is what I'm getting from my row gauge, or this is what I'm getting from my stitch gauge, what do I do next? Because I'm all feeling a bit of a tangle about it. Bring those questions over. Lots of us can help you. A lot of people in there are in Wardrobe Toolbox. This is the kind of stuff we talk about there. And even if you're in Wardrobe Toolbox and you're still getting a bit of a muddle, it's absolutely fine. Just bring your question over. Sometimes it helps just to write it out, and then you can sometimes see it. But it always helps to bring it to the knitting hive mind, and people can pitch in and help you out and say, okay, how about you just do this, this, and this? That's going to help. So bring those questions over there. So the main things to remember are the yardage. Just grab whatever yardage it says in the pattern. If you want to swap it out for the Truly Myrtle Sport Weight, I use Joy. But like I said, I think that the Liberty would be beautiful as well. And even the Scholar would be lovely. I think Grace is another one, which would be beautiful, the pink. I quite like the lighter colors, but you might decide just to have a little swatch in a dark color and see what you think. You might decide that you're quite happy to go for one of the darker ones. I just love the lighter ones. It just really picks up this dark and light in the pattern. And yeah, the yardage is the same, but don't forget the original is 50-gram balls, so it's it looks like twice as much. But these ones come in 100 grams. Okay, you can grab them all off my website. You can grab the pattern and the yarn off my website, and I will give you a discount code that'll work on my website and will work on Ravelry for the pattern. So you can do that. And the other thing I've been doing is I've been making the printed patterns also on my website. A lot of people have been ordering the printed pattern because the discount has been working. The discount is expanded to include that as well, not just the digital pattern. So if you do want to get yarn and a pattern, you can throw the digital printed pattern in, and that will come in with your wool. You'll instantly get a digital pattern in your email when it comes through my website, but the digital pattern will follow. So that's just something else to think about. A lot of people seem to like getting the printed patterns. Let me see what else you said. Okay. Is Georgie patterned on the back, or can you just have the front patterned? You could have just the front if you want. You could definitely do just the front, but your gauge is going to be different. The stitch gauge for your stockinette is different to the stitch gauge for the patterning. So I have given you a stockinette gauge. That 24 is a stockinette gauge. And then when you come to knit the body gauge, it is slightly different. You get just one more stitch into that 4 inches or 10 centimeters. So if you wanted to sub out the back, you might just have to make the back, well, it's just going to be a little bit, what is it going to be? It's going to be a little bit smaller because your stitches are a little bit smaller. Okay. So if you don't mind that, that's fine. I mean, there's quite a lot of give in this jumper, but I don't know, it does work without any fuss if you have the front and the back the same, because the place where it's going to matter is here, where you're joining the front and the back at the shoulders. My new Georgie is sport weight. Yep, that's definitely a sport weight yarn. So it's not the DK, it's sport. I'll put all the details in the mini mag so that you can, if you wait for that tomorrow morning, then you'll get all the details. I'll give you all the details, and you can just like push here, push. I'll just make it as simple as possible for you. You push as few buttons as possible. I try and do that. I try and make you not have to push many buttons. You just push one and it goes and it works. So I'll try and do that. Would a linen blend yarn work okay? I think a linen would be lovely. It would be really lovely. It'll give you a different look. That's the only thing. So where the original that I had, it was a very kitteny soft yarn that it's very soft, and it definitely has a bit of ooze to it. This one has a little more bounce to it. It's light, but it has a nice amount of recovery to the yarn. A linen blend would give you a slightly different look again. And so it would give you, again, a bit more ooze to it. It would relax it down. It would open and not recover. It would depends how much merino or yarn wool you've got in it. But linen has no recovery. And so it just kind of disappears. It sort of just goes away. So if you don't mind your jumper sort of growing slightly in width and in length, depends. I'm not quite sure which way it might grow for you, but one of those two or both. Then linen would be lovely. But if you get a good whack of yarn, if you've got like 10% linen, I don't think you're going to notice it quite so much, that collapsing to it, but it is lovely. I have some of the grey waiting for a project. Fantastic, Barbara. Yes, printed patterns. Is it on your Facebook page? It's not, Joe, not as far as I know. My Facebook page has been neglected the last few weeks. I've just been too busy. So I must get back to my Facebook page, but it will be in my mini mag. I save discounts on the whole for mini mag subscribers. It's like a little treat to subscribe to my knitting ramblings. You get these little treats, which are discount codes. So I do just tend to keep it there in the emails. Can I show you the Facebook join? I can indeed. Here is the Facebook join. What am I talking about? The shoulder join. There is the shoulder join right there. So the way I planned to do it, the way it's set up, and I talk you through it it's like an invisible join. And the way I set it up was so that you see how everything is like bricks, and it just continues like that over the shoulder. So they aren't, you see, I lose it. They're not, it's there, through there is the join. And so it continues with the brick layering. So everything's just slightly offset. So it doesn't go like that, it goes like that. With the patterning. So it's just those little details I quite like about knitting, being able to put those in. So that's the join at the shoulder. Underneath, it's like that. You can't even see it. You can't even see it. It's just a really simple little join. Can I use DK? Look, you can, Joe. You could definitely use DK, but you're going to have to do a little bit of maths. It's not the end of the world. You just need to know what your gauge is. And then when you have your gauge, then you can go back to the pattern. You figure out what is the size that in an ideal world you would have knitted. And in order to create that size in your gauge, how many stitches do you need, say, at the top of the shoulder? And then find a size in the pattern that has that number of stitches. You may or may not find that size in the pattern, depending on what size you started with. If you're already very small in the sizing, then you run out of sizes at the bottom that you're going to need. But if you are at the middle to top end, you'll be able to reach down into the sizes below in order to grab the size that you want that has less stitches in it, because you'll need less stitches. So yeah, it works where you are middle to upper end of the sizing, so that because you don't need as many stitches when you do DK. So you want to reach down there and grab a size at the bottom. Have I missed your new colours? Have they not arrived? No, they're not out yet. They're coming. I need to talk to Skeins about it again and work out how we're going. But, things have been a bit slow with their dyeing. And I think that's, I'm not too bothered, because I really want to bring you a couple more ideas of things to knit with the new colours. So I'm working on something at the moment, and I've got a couple of other things that I want to do. So they will be here. They will come, and then we'll have a few new patterns to go with them. I think that'd be a fun thing to do. The join is very neat. Yes, the join is very neat. And I talk you through it. Let me just see. Oh, I don't have that page, but I talk you through it in the pattern, how to make it just perfect like that as well. Okay, everybody, I'm hoping that makes you feel inspired to get some beautiful knits on your needles. A garment, if you haven't got a garment on your needles, it is so, I just love knitted garments. I love making them. I love wearing them. I love planning them. I love washing them. I love folding them. I love knitted garments. They are the best. So if you haven't even tried a garment yet, which I think a lot of you will have tried a garment, but if you haven't, this is the place to come, because we have some really great garments that are so accessible. And, with the instructions, hopefully I walk you through in a way that makes them really accessible to people, even if they haven't knitted garments before. So come and join the Truly Myrtle Knit Hangout. What's it called? The Knit and Chat Hangout. Come and join us over there. And it's a really great place to get some support if you're wanting to make a garment for the first time. Just enjoy making them and making modifications to them. It's a really nice place to be able to share the Truly Myrtle garment, the Truly Myrtle patterns that you've got. All right, you must finish some. You must finish some of the 11 whips before you start another. Okay. I know, Amanda. There's always more whips than there are hours in the day. But you wouldn't be the same, Amanda, if you didn't have so many whips. We'd expect that you have a lot of whips. What would you do if you didn't have so many? Be crazy. Okay, everybody, I will catch you next week for another chat. And, I've got a giveaway for you next week. You're going to love this one. I'll see you next week. Have a lovely week. Do heaps of knitting. Keep an eye on your emails, and I'll catch you later. Bye, everybody. See you later.